I accidentally found the remains of one of the most notoriously violent towns in the Old West. Killed in a gunfight. Welcome to Florence, Idaho.
Free! Come on, boys! Ride for the hills!
Set in one of the deepest, darkest forests I've ever encountered, this ghost town put Idaho on the map back in 1861, but not in a good way. 5 years ago, my best friend Chris and I randomly stopped here on our way to North Idaho and were blown away by the amount of history this forgotten town holds. So after some research on the town, the people, and the area, we decided to go back into the mountains and dig deeper into the past, bringing the unbelievable stories to life and connecting them to our lives in a way I'll never forget. Look at that. Florence is located roughly 25 miles into the mountains northeast of Riggins, Idaho. To reach it, Chris and I spent the night on the Salmon River, which was only about 15 miles from the ghost town. We found a nice spot on a sandbar to spend the night, and because it was November in Idaho, making coffee in the morning served both to wake us up and to warm us up. But we wasted no time breaking down camp and were soon headed towards the roads to Florence. Along the way to the turnoff that would take us up into the mountains, we passed over the Manning Crevice Bridge that spans 300 feet of the Salmon River. It was constructed in 2018 and won a national award in 2020 that serves as a literal gateway to adventure for many Idahoans. When gold was discovered in Florence, the town grew to an estimated 9,000 people. And at the same time, the Washington Territory, to which this area belonged to back then, established Idaho County, which is the beginning of the state I now call home. Life was incredibly dangerous in Florence during its boom years. In 1861 and 62, the winter was exceptionally brutal and claimed the lives of over 100 people. During its peak population in 1862, Florence was known as one of the most violent towns in the entire western United States. Daily shootings were normal, and it was reported that there was an average of 1 murder per week. It was a haven for outlaws looking to take any advantage they could, and there was no real law to be found. As we started climbing up the mountain, I couldn't help but think about the thousands of people who flooded this area in search of gold and riches, and how in some ways, we're still doing the same thing today, just not with rocks.
They say love is more precious than gold. It can't be bought, and it can't be sold. I got love enough to spare. That makes me a millionaire.
Despite its rugged, violent, and lawless reputation, Florence also had many firsts for Idaho. It became the county seat and had the first school, the first district court, the first library, the first Masonic lodge, and the first county road in Idaho history. It seems as though, at its core, Florence was trying to be a good home for miners and their families, but it was plagued by outlaws and violence. And it was the tension between those two forces that led to some unbelievable stories that are still part of Idaho's DNA today. It was at this point in the drive that we hit the deep, dark woods. The road we were on was narrow, winding, overgrown, and strewn with obstacles. In other words, just the way we like it. For the record, there are probably easier roads to Florence, but sometimes you just gotta let the Jeep eat, if you know what I mean. Welcome to the ghost town, or what's left of it, of Florence, Idaho. Maybe the oldest ghost town in Idaho. So where we're standing now is kind of the hilltop of the town, and the creek runs back there, and all the buildings were kind of down here where these newer trees are. So I'm gonna walk in there, see if we can find anything left, and retell some of the stories that happened at Florence, Idaho. This apparently is the Canfield place. And it's still in pretty good shape. Looks like it.
Yeah, see where they had the stove pop out.
Oh yeah. You can see, look at the wood. It's been like hand planed. These beams. That's pretty cool. It's like wallpaper or something, or newspaper. Look at that. It's like wallpaper that's been put over newspaper. Overland. Huh.
There's an old sardine tin by the front door.
It does look like a sardine tin of some sort. Yeah.
So that shows us that they had charcuterie.
There's like a little, I don't know, pantry or shelf or something. Yeah, this one has just kind of sunk into the hillside. Yeah, this baby's been through better winters. Here we got a little outbuilding over here. I think this is like an outhouse. It's sinking into the earth, unfortunately.
Oh, that's crappy.
But there is a
double.
It's, hey, you can look at this. It's a 2-person toilet. Can you imagine being like, hey, Will, you got to go number 2? Yeah. You want to go together? Sure. We can read the paper together.
Oh, that sounds horrible.
That's, I wish I hadn't said that now. Oh, look at this. It's huge. Whoa. This must have been some kind of a gathering place.
Yeah, it was big, or like a general store maybe.
Yeah. It's fitting, I think, for Florence that one of the remaining buildings is a jail. It definitely looks like it's been rebuilt. This does not look like it's still standing from whenever.
Yeah.
You can see like maybe newer wood up here.
Uh-huh.
Maybe, I don't know if that's original or not, but
Yeah, in the front, like.
it's really square too. A lot of times when you see buildings like this, they're leaning to one side or the other. Look at the way they did this.
Yeah, like stacked 2x4s.
Yep. Yeah, that's crazy. Huh. That's holding. There's like this, I don't know what you call this, like a vestibule here before you go in. And then there's almost like a loft above. I don't know if there's a ceiling in that jail or if that's the ceiling to the jail up there. Oh, it's pretty.
Yeah, it is big, so.
Yeah, so there's a loft up there. Oh, this is freaking spooky, dude. Can you turn a light on or something? Oh my God, look at that wasp's nest.
Yeah, look, you see
Dude.
the floor?
No. Oh, carnage. Oh my God, I'm stepping on it. Wait, try it down on the floor again. And look at this one over here.
Yeah.
Dude, there's like, that's not just like a couple wasps. This is like Wasp City.
Yeah, this would be like a death trap if you're allergic to wasps.
Seriously, like this is not just a jail. I think this is like the,
Torture chamber.
yeah, it kind of feels like a sauna.
Yeah.
Like the way that the wood walls are. It's like if you had like a torture chamber sauna with killer bees in it, this would be it. I'm gonna close this door. Oh, do we wake the wasps up? No.
No.
Okay.
Okay, so should I turn the light off?
Yeah, turn the light off. Okay, so it's like 3:00 in the afternoon. You don't know this, but you're looking at Chris's face right now. He's in total darkness. This is the only light you have. Is this little tiny window with barely any light coming in. I mean, being locked up in here would be brutal.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be brutal to be in here. Okay, I'm ready to get out of here. I feel like those wasps are gonna wake up and like
Yeah.
take revenge. All right, here's how you bust out of a jail. 1, 2, 3. Oh, dude, I don't know if we're getting out.
You're shitting me.
I'm free. Made it out. Come on, boys. Ride for the hills. So it's really hard to tell by looking at it now, but this was one of the most dangerous places in the United States back in 1861, 62, and 63. Residents who lived here said there were daily gunshots. There were people dying constantly, being shot. And one of the most notorious criminals was called Cherokee Bob. So first, What an awesome name. Like, a bad guy's name is Cherokee Bob. It's like right out of Hollywood. It's almost too good to be true. He came to town and there was a saloon right up here on the hill, and he walked into the saloon and said to the saloon owner, your deceased partner owes me a big debt, so I'm taking the saloon from you. If you don't like it, then I'm gonna put my gun in your face and blow your face off. There was no recourse. There was no place to go to ask for help. So the saloon owner said, okay, I guess it's yours. He brought with him a lady of the night named Redheaded Cynthia. And he was in love with her, or so it seems. Like, he was very committed and dedicated to Redheaded Cynthia. So much, in fact, that there was a town ball that was happening. And she really wanted to go. And Cherokee Bob was like, heck yeah, any lady of mine can go wherever she wants in this town. I own this town. So they show up to this ball, and immediately when she walks in, the townspeople were like, unbelievable. This is not a place for prostitutes. This is for upstanding citizens. A group of them got together, talked to Cherokee Bob, and said, you gotta go and you gotta take your lady. This is not for you. So he did. He left, but he swore vengeance. And over the next few days, he started extracting his vengeance on those people who told him to get out. When Cherokee Bob started killing these people that kicked his lady of the night out of the party, Rube Robbins, decided to put a stop to it. So right here in Main Street, Florence, there was an old-fashioned, Old West standoff between Rube Robbins and Cherokee Bob. They looked at each other, they exchanged words, they drew their pistols, they fired. Rube Robbins fired again, and on that second shot, he mortally wounded Cherokee Bob. And it just so happens that Cherokee Bob is buried in the Florence cemetery, which we're gonna go see here in just a second. My other favorite story from Florence, and really one of the only remaining kind of full stories from this place, because everything's been destroyed. The Civil War was happening, and the town was violently opposed to each other because they were Northerners and Southerners, and they were about to have a violent conflict. To prevent that, a committee was formed, and they commissioned a young German art student to do something, to build something that might gain the appreciation of both sides and help them get along. Well, this was in July. This was July 3rd and 4th in 1863. So every single day in July that year, the temperature got below freezing. There was snow and ice all over the town. What the townspeople did, the committee, they piled up all this snow in the middle of town, and they put water on it to make it ice. And this artist carved an ice sculpture of George Washington on a horse. And when the townspeople came out and saw it the next day, they loved it. It was enough that they could get past their differences between supporting the North and South and celebrate being an American because everyone appreciated what George Washington had done for the country. And that's such a great story, but it doesn't end there. That artist, later in his life, remade that sculpture in wood, and right now it's sitting in the Idaho State Capitol building. So before this video is over, I'm gonna go find that sculpture. I've never seen it in person, and I'm gonna show it to you, and I'm gonna see it myself.
The next stop was the old cemetery, also called Boot Hill. In the Wild West, to be buried with your boots on meant that you met a violent end. And so many residents of this town suffered that fate that it was an anomaly not to be buried here with your boots on.
Okay, so we have come to the cemetery, which is just up the road, maybe a quarter mile or less from the old town site. So behind me is what's called Old Boot Hill, I believe. And this is where the cemetery is. So I'm wondering if we can go find Cherokee Bob's grave. I think it's up there somewhere. Let's go take a look. It's always interesting to me that these old ghost towns, so much fades away so fast, but the cemeteries and the headstones remain. So this is an information sign that talks about Florence in 1861, the gold boom. It also says H.J. Cherokee Bob Talbot reigned as the town bully until he was killed by J.D. Williams and Orlando Robbins, also known as Rube Robbins, in 1863. That's 2 years after the town was founded. Talbot's buried in the Florence Cemetery, and there's one marker in the cemetery inscribed with the word baby. Oh. Local legend tells that this child was the first person buried at Florence without boots on.
So here's the baby headstone, and that's really sad, but it was also really common back during this time in frontier towns. A lot of babies died, a lot of women died in childbirth, and just a lot of people died. Gosh, look at this guy over here. Sylvester Scott died January 1862, native of Kentucky, killed in a gunfight. Yeah, I mean, I think that's par for the course in Florence back in 1861 through 1863 at least. Now, these graves have been exhumed. You can see, literally, they're just holes now. They've been dug up. And what they did is they dug up these bodies and they brought them back to China and they cremated them and scattered them in their native areas where they were from. They've all gone home. Another unknown grave. And oh, here it is. Look at this. Look at this. Here he is. H.J. Talbot died January 5th, 1863, aged 29 years, native of Georgia. So here's Cherokee Bob. Here's where he's been laid to rest. Wow. So after the gunfight between Cherokee Bob and Rube Robbins, Cherokee Bob was mortally wounded, but it took him, I think, maybe 3 days to die. So he basically said, Rube Robbins is a brave one. He's one of those guys who jumps through the gun smoke after he fires instead of ducking and going to the side. And I think it was his desperado show of respect for the guy that dealt him his death blow. And the thing about Rube Robbins is that he continued to live up to that reputation after this conflict. He moved down into the Boise Basin and he became one of the West's most respected, bravest, and effective lawmen. You did not want Rube Robbins on your trail if you were a desperado or if you were running from the law. He brought every single man in. Even in his old age, he worked at the Idaho State Penitentiary in Boise. And so this is a really interesting story about a really wild and violent time in Idaho's history, but it's also the story about how when there is lawlessness, like Cherokee Bob, the only thing you can do if there's no law around is stand up for what's right. And that's what Rube Robbins did in this instance, and then again and again and again throughout his life. In fact, I believe his headstone is in a Boise cemetery, and we're gonna go find it after we get done here in Florence. I wanna go find where Rube Robbins is buried. I think it looks very different than this.
With the days running shorter, we found ourselves watching the sunset from the trail and reflecting on everything we'd learned today.
Start a fire, throw the memories in the flames, it's behind you. See the gold in the red, new horizons. Let it burn, let it burn.
So Chris, what are we making for dinner tonight, dude?
Besides the Coulter's Run.
Besides the whiskey, yeah, what are we having for dinner?
So last summer at Range to Ranch, I bought some beef top sirloin from Jeff and Mia over at Hyman Peak. And so yeah, we're gonna have some Hyman Peak top sirloin cooked over hickory.
So I do want to say that Hyman Beef is a sponsor of this channel, and I also want to say how great is it that I have a sponsor that is a local ranch that raises grass-fed and finished beef. And it's like, I know the ranchers, they're good people. It's the best steak I've ever had in my entire life. And so it's like a pleasure for me to have them as a supporter of the channel, as it will be a pleasure for me to eat the steak that Chris cooks tonight. Ooh la la.
Yeah.
Look at those.
Oh yeah, just right.
Local just tastes better.
Mm-hmm.
Local food.
Yeah.
Homegrown, literally.
Yeah. I feel like Rube Roberts?
Rube Robbins?
Rube Robbins would approve of this.
Oh yeah, this is 100% Rube Robbins approved. Speaking of, how do you feel like getting to his grave site?
Yeah, it's one of those things where he's like literally right in your backyard.
No,
not literally right in your backyard. That'd be weird.
It took coming out here to figure all this out.
Yeah, he's just down the street from you.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's amazing.
So tomorrow we'll head into the Pioneer Cemetery in Boise, and we'll head to the Capitol building, and we'll actually get to see, what's left of these two amazing stories. I can't wait, man.
Me either.
So this is the burial record for Pioneer Cemetery. We think he's here. Let's see if he's in the book. Robbins, is it by, yeah, it's by last name.
Oh, here we go. Section 2, Block 15, Lot 5. Yeah, it's kind of this is an interesting cemetery. It's got a lot of names that are like big for Idahoans, like Andrus, who is a governor, and Smiley, another governor, Davis. Like we have the Julie Davis Park here. So you can tell there's just a lot of history here.
Oh wait, what's that right back there, dude? You see that tall one back by the fence?
Yeah.
That might be it. Let's go take a closer look. Dude, yeah, look at the, oh man, these are just like Idaho staples, these names. Yep. Look at this, yeah, John Danskin. Wow. Yeah, dude, this is it. You can see the Robbins on the bottom. It's kind of leaning over a little bit, but here we go. Look at that. Orlando Robbins, born August 31, 1836, died May 11th, 1908.
Or May 1st, 1908.
You're right, it's May 1st, 1908, yeah. What a different headstone. This thing versus Cherokee Bob. I mean, this is clearly the headstone of somebody who made an impact. You know, like, it's 10 feet tall. It's one of the biggest headstones in this whole place. Well, and his wife, Carilla Robbins, we were just reading about this. She has a headstone right next to him, right here. And she was the woman's suffrage leader here in the Boise area. And so like, it was a power couple. Well, I think we should give it a pat for good luck.
Yeah. Thanks, Mr. Robbins.
Thanks, Rube. Okay, hey, let's go find that, let's go find the statue now.
Yeah, so head over to the
Capitol building, which is it's just a few blocks that way. There's a lot of steps to get up there. Welcome to the Capitol.
It's been a while since I've been here.
Same. Okay, we're in the Capitol. I think it's in the rotunda, which is below us. Like, we walked up all those steps and probably just should have went in on the lower floor. That is the governor's office down there. Up here on the next floor is where the legislators meet. And then there's like committee rooms up here, and up on the third floor there's some offices and things of the legislature. But we're going down below. We're going down to a new level I've never been to before. There's gotta be somebody down here that knows about it, right? So we can't find it, but we just asked two lovely ladies who work here, and I was like, it's a golden statue of George Washington on the horse, like up fourth floor. Like, they knew immediately what we're talking about. So let's go up there and see what's up there. Well, this is the third or fourth floor, depending on how you count. And there is the big old American flag, which is cool. And oh, dude, I think that's it right there.
What gave it away?
The golden guy on a horse. The statue of George Washington was carved out of Idaho wood by Charles Ostner and presented to the territory of Idaho, January 8th, 1869. So 6 years after he carved this in ice for the people in Florence, he made it out of wood and dedicated it to Idaho, and it is awesome. And look at that, man, it's painted in gold. So imagine this made out of ice in Florence, Idaho, 1863. Look at that. I mean, it's good. It's enough. I think people coming out that were really mad at each other, having arguments, would look at this and be like, dang, man, that's a good statue. Yeah. like
life size.
Life size, and all the details, the sword, the stirrups are so good. I don't know, like the canteen, his hat. I mean, just the details that he put into this are fantastic. Very cool, man. Wow. Florence, Idaho, in the Capitol building right here. Well, I can truly say this has been like no other adventure Chris and I have been on. The tie-in to Rube Robbins' gravestone and the statue are just like icings on the cake to what was
Already an awesome experience. Hope you had fun watching it. Until next time, I'm Wolf Adventure to Rome. Thanks for watching.